It's been a great week. This is the union's parliament, and this is when it gives the opportunity for union representatives to come and debate the important issues for themselves and the members. And the feeling's good. Some very, very important contributions from the delegates. Again, as ever, numerous first-time speakers. A great success. Yeah, the union's a broad church, and the representation of all age groups shows you the interest in the union. It's tough for the members at the minute, and this is the union's parliament where they come along and they can say clearly how they feel about things. And listening to the speeches, and for people who probably didn't even intend to speak, who felt strong about an issue, got up and contributed. I've been to many union conferences, but I can honestly say I've never known a conference that has so many speakers, including first-time speakers. So it's a great indication, really, of where they see the union at the minute. Under no illusions, we've a tough journey ahead, but a great feeling in Blackpool this week. The union has to remain financially sound. In that sense, it requires not only an increase in membership, of which our union representatives have maintained for many years, but increases when needed means that we can invest back into the union to give the best possible service to the membership. And it was great this week. 80% of our representatives, 80% of the union's membership represented here, voted for an increase. Yes, it was a modest increase, but an increase that reflected they understand that we want to take the union forward. We want to make sure we give the best possible service to the members and, of course, support the union representatives. So that was a good vote because it meant that we were doing the right things and that we were in touch with our grassroots membership. Well, I said in my speech when we were talking in the political debate that you can avoid politics if you want, but politics won't avoid you. If you look at many of the decisions taken in Parliament, whether it's on employment rights, whether it's on the NHS or education, all of these issues affect our members. And we want to gather the views of our members because representation in the workplace is our core responsibility. But of course we have a responsibility to understand what are the other pressures on our members. Whether that may be their frustration, it may be the NHS isn't necessarily working as well as they think it should, or whether the children are getting a good education, or they have elderly parents that they may be worried about in terms of care. This union reflects that kind of debate. And most impressive for me is the personal experience. When somebody goes up and says, look, this happened to me, that has some currency because people can relate to it, or they know somebody who's maybe been in a similar position. So politics matters. We're not a political party, you know, we are only individuals, but we have political opinions. And we listen to our members. You know, it's not for the General Secretary to assume anything politically. The lead has to come from the membership. And over many years now, this union has understood that, in a way, we need to talk to parties who share some of our values. And our affiliation to the Labour Party has been rooted in that connection. In fact, we formed the Labour Party. But we're not a political party. We have to respect other people, may not necessarily be Labour Party supporters, but they still will have opinions about the decisions politicians take. Well, campaigns are a part of the everyday work of the union, and they should be campaigns that are popular for our membership because there's so many concerns for our members at the moment. So if you take the Freedom from Fear campaign, which was launched over 10 years ago, we had an excellent fringe meeting this year at this ADM where we were represented by the Junior Minister, Jack Dromey, in the Labour Party, and of course the police were also represented here. And the personal experience where people are still being abused and victimised brought it to the fore, and this is a good example of us taking that campaign to the politicians and saying we need things done. Parents and Carers campaign, trying to juggle your work with your other responsibilities is extremely difficult today. People on hours, and flexibility needs to be both ways. It needs to be for the individual employee as well as the employer, and more work needs to be done on that. So our reputation as a campaigning union, I think, is well rooted in our actions. But of course, we only take the lead of the campaigns from the membership, and they have to be the campaigns that they believe will make a difference for them and their members. I mean, it's really important to recognise that the economy may be showing some upturn, and we welcome that. But the true definition of whether the upturn is working for our members is when they feel financially better off and more secure in their employment. And it would be wrong to assume we've reached that point at this time. We haven't. And what I would be saying to our representatives, a recession is always difficult for employees because employers start to reduce costs and reduce staffing levels. And it's really difficult at the minute where our members are feeling that pressure. But things do change, and we'll have to monitor very closely how the economy is working out for our members, and that's why we have a living wage campaign. It's why we support the minimum wage and trying to increase the minimum wage as much as possible. It's why we have all these campaigns to try and offset some of the attacks at the minute which are coming through some of the big political decisions. So we know it's tough. We can empathise with them. We can't wave a magic wand and make life perfect overnight, but what we can do is make sure that we're raising the right campaigns to the right people in order that we can help them. But yes, it's financially difficult. And that was really important, that even in these difficult financial times, our membership represented here at this annual conference voted by 80% for a modest increase. That's a good indicator of how they see the union at the moment. And we take that not for granted, but assure them we use their finances sensibly to make sure that the union remains financially solvent, but remains and builds on its success as a campaigning union.